Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Lottie Albert podcast. My name is Lindsey Newns and you may have come across me as Lottie Albert. If you have seen me on Instagram, I'm also Lottie Albert on Etsy, on Ravelry, and my blog is lottieandalbert.blogspot. So hello and welcome to my crochet podcast. I am a crochet designer and general craft fan, and this is my podcast all about crochet with the occasional other craft thrown in. I'm going to talk about what I've been making, what I've been finishing, new things. I also have the results of my giveaway for the Vicki Brown book this episode. So stay tuned if you want to find out if you won or not. There we are, that's an excuse to get you to keep watching if anything. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. And if you've subscribed as well, which so many of you have recently, which is really exciting, then thank you and hello. And a really warm welcome if it's the first time you're watching. So I'm going to start off with finished objects, and drumroll please, this is a proper ta-da moment. Does anybody else notice I say ta-da all the time? Ta-da! This is my finished butterfly blanket. I'm really sorry, I don't know why the weird voice came on then. I am quite tired. This is a blanket you will have seen quite a few times if you've watched the podcast before, and it's now finally finished. I mean, really, the last 2 episodes, I only had about that far left to go. So to all intents and purposes, you've seen it finished, but here we are. Here it is in its final finished glory. This is a pattern based on a free Afghan square in the Butterfly Garden by Chris Simon. I will put the link to that free pattern below if you would like to take a look. And anything I talk about pattern wise or yarn wise or whatnot, I will put the links in the description box below for all of those things, for all my show notes. So check those out if you're interested. So yeah, that's the pattern. The pattern was just for a little square in the middle, and I basically then just kept on going. But really I think what makes this is the yarn that I use. So I've used a gradient yarn, and it's 1 yarn cake, which means that this is just all one ball, and the colour changes all thanks to the clever yarn, and not really much to do with me. The yarn is from Cotton Flowers, and again, if you've seen before, I talked about Cotton Flowers yarn quite a bit in the 2nd episode when I did a Cotton Flowers giveaway. And yeah, I rate this so highly. It's cotton, as the name suggests, and this is actually an 8-ply weight, of which there don't seem to be many left on her site. She seems to do more 4-ply and 3-ply, 5-ply. But yeah, I would say the 8-ply is more like a worsted or an Aran weight, and I used a 5mm hook for it, except on the last row because, as you saw, I ran out of yarn, and so I went down to a 4mm, but actually it hasn't really puckered or anything too badly. I think I've got away with it. So for the border, in the end, I ummed and ahed and I wasn't really sure what border to do. I did a row of treble crochet, then a row of double crochet, and then I did what I'm calling a modified crab stitch. There probably is an actual name for it, but I essentially did 1 crab stitch, chained 1, missed a stitch. I always do this as if I've got a fancy focus. I don't. But hopefully you can see. I did 1 crab stitch, chained 1, missed 1, did another crab stitch, and so on and so on. And it's given this slightly looser, twisted effect, which I really, really like. So yes, hopefully in the next week, I have promised that I'll do a write-up of the project on my blog for anybody who's interested. As I said, it was a free pattern, so I'll link back to that, but I'll give the full details of how many rows and the border and how to work the border yourself if you'd like to do the same thing. I know quite a few of you, after I first shared it, were like, I'm going to start one, and there are some great gradient yarns out there now. They seem to be everywhere, the yarn cakes, which all the better for us to have more choice. Cotton ones, cotton mixes, I think there was even anyway, there's loads out there. So Rico have got some really nice ones too. Check them out if you would like to make a similar one. That would be awesome. It's so nice when you hear you've inspired people or given people an idea to start stuff. So hopefully its owner will like it too. She's 2 weeks old. Probably doesn't have much call for a blanket at this time of year. Even in the UK where I am, it is quite warm still for me. But yes, hopefully she will like it. She was born, if anybody watched the last episode, she was born before the blanket was finished, so she wasn't waiting entirely for the blanket, clearly. Her name is Luna. I don't know if it is a Harry Potter thing, but like out of Harry Potter, Luna, which I love that name. I actually, it's a really good friend of mine, I overheard her little girl, so this is her second child, Luna, I overheard her little girl when she was still pregnant saying that she was going to have a baby sister, and sorry about the noise. I thought she said she was going to be called Lulu, which is equally cute, and then when I heard she was Luna, baby Luna, so this blanket is going to be for baby Luna. I didn't block it in the end. I was planning on blocking it, but actually I don't really think it needs it. I probably could straighten up slightly, but especially because it's going to be a baby blanket and used and washed, I think there's very little point stretching within an inch of its life, because presumably after the first wash, you know, that's not really something that's going to happen. So when I first started it, I was concerned that I would almost need to block it as I went on, but I think almost the weight of the blanket itself has really helped pull out those stitches, and probably because it's cotton. I said this before, one of my favourite things about this blanket is the weight of it. You probably can't tell from a video, but there's just something really comforting about the weight and the feeling of it. There we go. This has not been a quick project. I mean, it probably could be. I imagine some of you could whip one of those up quite quickly. I have been working on it for a long time, but actually, and I mean this genuinely, I've loved working on it for every moment. It's never been like a trial, and it's always sort of been a bit of a slow burner project, but in a really nice way, not in a like, oh, I'll put it away because I can't bother to work on it and I'm more excited to work on other things. Like, it's always been nice to get it out and work on it. And this is going to sound really cheesy, and if you're not a yarny person and you're just a friend watching for whatever reason, then this is probably going to sound even cheesier, but I really feel with this blanket that, like, I loved working on it so much. Like, I feel like I've put so much love into it. So I told you it was going to be cheesy, but yeah. So there we are. I need to roll it up and put a nice ribbon on it and finally deliver it to its recipient. So that's my finished object. And actually, I think that's probably my only finished object. So I'll share some more of my works in progresses shortly, but yeah. Sorry, I've got a really wobbly tripod. That's my butterfly blanket finally finished. Hooray! Next up, I've got lots of new things to show you. I think the first thing I'll show you is conveniently placed too far away. So I played along on Instagram with an online challenge hosted by the technicolourcrafters feed, where they did a 30-day challenge with different prompts, the like of which you probably have seen if you've been on Instagram or if you're active on Instagram. And at the end, they did something which was, I thought, a really clever idea. They did a swap. So anybody who had happened to see it or been a part of it or just wanted to could post on their Instagram something that they were happy to swap with some of the other Technicolor crafters. Again, I'll put all the links below. And so I saw an amazing bag by Elaine of Heyday Crochet, who's one of my long-time Insta pals. And yeah, hooked that up. Decided it needed to be mine. She said on her post that she would like to swap with something non-crochet related. So so I offered her fabric because I have lots of fabric. She said she wasn't much of a sewer. So I said, what other crafts are you into? I'm sure I can find some materials somewhere from my extensive hoard. And she just sort of said, do you know what, let's just swap and you can send me a surprise. So I'm not going to say what I sent her yet because I have only just posted it. And so she might not even know yet. She, being far more organised and speedy, has already sent me what she offered to swap, which is this amazing mustard doily bag. How beautiful is that? So beautiful. She has made this in a cotton, I believe, it feels like. Maybe a DK weight, slightly thicker. I'm not too sure. She hasn't said. She's just sent me her beautiful bag, which is enough. It's got quite a long strap, so we're sort of over the shoulder. Clearly I'm going to need to shoot some nice pickies. Actually, this is just perfect because as I'm speaking, I'm recording this slightly early again because I am away again this weekend. I keep seeming to go away on podcast weekends, which isn't very helpful. And we are going to see The Killers in Hyde Park. Is this or is this not a perfect outdoor, a perfect outdoor gig bag? So perfect. So I'll be wearing that on Saturday. And yeah, so just thank you so much to Elaine and also to all the Technicolour Crafters. Technicolour Crafters. I really hope I'm getting that right because I've said it about 10 times. Who offered things to swap, because I just think that's the definition of a really fantastic craft online community where people will willingly pay postage and just send each other things that they've spent time working on. And she does actually sell these. I know she sells them because I've seen them. So why she would like to send it to me for free is slightly beyond me, but thank you, Elaine. It's so beautiful. Yeah, and also actually, not to steal her idea, but she's called it the doily bag, and she has made both of these from scratch, but it's not a bad idea if you've got any vintage doilies or I suppose even cotton ones. I have a stash, unsurprisingly, but quite a few did come from my grandma, my nana, and my husband's grandma as well. And they're beautiful and they're lovely, but there's only so many sort of wall art hoops or repurposed, pockets you can make out of them. So there's an idea if you've got any doilies, or if you come across any crochet doilies and you love them but you're not sure what to do, put two together and make a bag out of them. She's just done basically one long, really long rectangular piece which joins the two and also forms the handle. And that's done, I think, on a smaller hook. That feels really tight. It's got a really good strap. I guess that's one thing that crochet is better for over than knitting. You can get a much denser, tighter fabric for a strap such as that. And I'm also going to show you the card she sent me because it's just amazing. You rock! Is that or is that not a David Bowie rocking horse? So good. And she's put, hope you love the doily bag. This mustard is my absolute fave. Lots of love, Elaine. Thank you again so much. So that's one of my new things, crochet related, which I'm in love with. She also has the jazziest jiffy bags. Who else features jiffy bags on their podcast? But I feel it needs a mention. That's a new thing. I also have another bag of new things which I've been given because I was invited this week to Hobbycraft's Autumn Winter blogger preview. Now, if you've watched any of my previous podcasts, you will know I'm not sure if I should say a fan of unseasonal crochet, but all I seem to be able to crochet this summer is blankets and scarves and cowls, and I am in the UK. It's not as hot as elsewhere in the world, as we've established. I'm British, I just love to talk about the weather. But yeah, maybe I should focus on more seasonal stuff. But then to be invited to an autumn winter preview event, I feel that is just a sign that I am just organised and on trend. See, like the big young companies and companies like Hobbycraft. Are you you buying it? I'm not sure if I'm selling it myself. So I went along, and it was in London. It was at Drink Shop Do, which I've never been to before, so that was really exciting. I met 3, 4, 5 Insta pals who I've chatted to for ages but never ever met before in person. 2 of which, Amber from Thread the Love and Emily from Make E. Never sure how to say her name out loud. I met before for a drink, and I may or may not have had half a bottle of Prosecco by the time I even got there. But why not? I had the afternoon off and I was in London, and it was about 5 PM by the time I had the Prosecco. Not a total, you know. But anyway, Drink Shop Do, amazing venue. Hobbycraft, thanks so much for inviting me. Instapals, so good to me. Already, it was so good. And then we got to see all of the amazing designs and features and ideas. It wasn't just yarn stuff. They had loads of cakey stuff there too. Ideas for Halloween. So you kind of came in and it was all a Halloween section, and they had people doing glitter face painting, which I was very tempted to get. But I was also aware that I had to get a train home for nearly 2 hours by myself. And then I probably would have looked like a bit of a wino if I'd had a big, hey, maybe I should have gone for a rocking horse bowie look. Maybe if I'd seen Elaine's card before, I would have been braver or more inspired. Literally don't know what I'm talking about. Yes, they had ideas. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I didn't say, but it's actually like 8 PM at night and both my babies are in bed. So if you hear crying, that's why. I even almost didn't film because I was like, do you know, I'm so tired. I don't think I can do it. I've been so busy. I've had such a long day. But basically, I've just started and I've started talking about yarn. And I've gotten excited and woken myself up. But I think there's still a tired edge. So I'm going to blame that for my ramblings today instead of the heat. Maybe there'll be a new theme each podcast. But today, it's my tiredness. So back to Hobbycraft. They have really loads of polystyrene heads, skulls and bones, which they decorated amazingly for Halloween. They had a selfie booth. They had cocktails, like 3 or 4 different cocktails you could then choose from at the bar. And then you went into the Christmas and the winter section. They had cards you could make, Christmas card section. They had a selfie station. I did try, but honestly, I was thinking, sometimes being creative on the spot, I don't find easy. Emily, make, no problem. You could see her brain was literally going. But yeah, something about being creative on the spot is almost the pressure. So anyway, selfie station didn't go well. They had a knitting and crochet table, which is obviously where we ended up. They had a candle making section. They had a bauble making section. Honestly, I suppose it's what you'd expect from a Hobbycraft event, but actually just saying it all out loud in a row like that, can you see I'm holding? They had so much good stuff, and I shared some stories on my Instagram at the time, and a picture of a beautiful like ombre cake, which I put on my Instagram as well. But I'll try and insert some pictures here. Hopefully I can work out how to insert pictures as I'm talking, because I've seen other people do that. I know that that is a thing. I just have to like enjoy silence as I like post a picture. It hasn't quite got the same ring to it, has it? But I'll try and insert some pictures, or if not, I'll do a blog post. There you go. I'll do a blog post and I'll put the link to the blog post if you'd really like to see some pictures of all the Christmas autumn goodness, then yeah, I'll post a link to that. At the end, I got a goodie bag. Did I tell you about the yarny section? They had a giant llama, a giant one, made out of, they've got a new yarn coming out, Knitcraft, got a whole new range of yarns, but they're coming out, but they've got really super chunky squishy one. It's called Hug It Out, which is that not the best name for a super chunky squishy big yarn? Definitely need to get my hands on some of that to make something. Giant llama made out of that. What else did they have? An amazing stabby granny stocking which looked like a Set Free My Gypsy Soul pattern. I'm almost certain it was, but I can't confirm or deny unless she's posted something herself. But definitely check out the picture of that in neons. Gorgeous. I also then at the end was given a goodie bag. Hello, goodie bag. They had a couple of different types. They had a chevron-y one. This one is gold and says hello, which I chose because I thought actually I'll probably use that more all year round. I think there was another black and white design too. Would you like to see what's in the goodie bag? I've got myself a roll of very cute Hobbycraft Christmas wrapping paper. I have this adorable snowman from a tree. If anybody else finds this surreal, then I'm a little bit hot and sweaty and I'm showing you Christmas ornaments. It's fine. I have in here some lights. Are you ready? Ooh, ooh, ooh. These are actually little pegs. Well, that's probably not helping. A chain of pegs. I'm presuming they come off the box. I think this is just like a preview button. So you can peg up your... There's literally snow falling out the bottom. Can you see that? Peg up your Christmas cards and things, I guess, with that. What else have we got in here? A pom-pom garland. That's what's rustling. 2.8 metre pom-pom garland. There's more on the back, so I guess you space them out once you get it out. Stay tuned, in 6 months' time I can show you what it looks like up. There is also, helpfully, some yarn crafts. This is a crochet your own Christmas decorations. And this, can you see? It's a bit shiny. There's a really cute little reindeer and a little penguin. Oh no, look. They come with, it's polystyrene balls and I guess you crochet around them, which I've never done before. So, yeah. Don't hold your breath for that next time. I always say that, don't I? But even for me, this is probably a step too far. I will wait a few months before making that. And then, oh, actually, the last things in here are some things that I made whilst I was there. I'll show you this one first, because actually this one is okay. They had loads of different little ceramic shapes that you could choose, and then these special ceramic pens, so they don't need baking or glazing or anything. So I made one of those at the time. And then after saying I couldn't craft on the spot, I was feeling quite secretly pleased with that one. And then this happened. A little bit of self-promotion, never hurt anyone. I tried to start with another kind of folky one, but I just wasn't feeling it as much. And yeah, the pressure to craft on the spot got to me. I've learned that I don't craft well under pressure. Or maybe it's just a state of mind thing. So I actually went to university in Brighton, and for those of you who don't know, Brighton in the UK is really, really artsy and really, really creative. Like, anything goes. It's the gay capital of the UK too, but that's an aside. Anything goes in lots of different ways. I didn't actually study a creative topic. I studied history at university. But weirdly, something about, okay, yeah, maybe this was more about me as a personal thing than it was about Brighton, because for me to say I went to university in Brighton and it actually like put me off crafting or took me out of the art scene, and the big caveat I'll say with that is I felt it was very competitive. And I felt that everybody had something to show and something to say. And I actually signed up for a life drawing class, and one of my flatmates was like, why are you going to a life drawing class? You do history. And I was a bit taken aback. And as I said, maybe it was my kind of immaturity or naivety or whatever, but I almost took a real step back. So before I went to do my history degree, I knew I loved art and crafts. And so I spent a year doing an art foundation degree, which in the UK is normally what people do if they're then going to go on to study art or design or anything related to that at university, because I think the universities see it as a way to kind of narrow down your subject area. So the idea is you go and do your art foundation year, and then you choose you know, whether you want to study fibre arts or if you want to study fine art or photography or fashion, and it helps you narrow down and focus, and then you go to university, you do your degree. The reason that I did it was because I also loved history, and I still do. That's basically that's what I do for my day job. I am a commissioning editor for history publishers, but I wanted I decided almost quite last minute. I already had my place to do history, and I then applied for this art foundation and deferred my history place. Just because I wanted to spend a year doing something which I really loved and enjoyed before I knuckled down at university. So I went to university in Brighton in a very creative headspace, and yet just something about the scene there, or maybe the conflict I felt with the two subjects I was doing, or what I felt really pushed out, and I almost felt because I wasn't like in it, I wasn't like, there was just almost overwhelmed, or it was very competitive. And so maybe I think for me that competitive element of crafting is not good, and I suppose I'm trying to tie into that the pressure of like crafting on the spot, because you're like, oh crap, I'm at this event and I'm supposed to be like a creative blogger, like I should be able to draw on a ceramic snowflake. But there's people around you just, you know, doing all these other things, making these other ideas, and they probably are not phased, and they probably don't even think that they're being competitive. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it is just me and my personality. But crafting on the spot, a mixed bag, I'm gonna say. I think I maybe just need to approach it for the fun that it is and not worry. But hopefully you didn't mind my little foray into my past there as well. Now, I was gonna show you the next thing I made, which I'll show you why I'm laughing. Which on the day, I was so pleased with it. It looked really good. He didn't travel well. Poor Mr. Snowflake dear has not travelled well. I used a mixture of PVA and then glue gun, because I decided the PVA, the girl on the stand who I can't remember her name, but I am now following her on Instagram, so I'll put it below. He's got a little pom-pom in between his ears. The girl on the stand even said to me, PVA is probably not going to dry very quickly, so you might want to use the glue gun. But I had this idea I was going to put PVA glue in, and then it was going to be like the snow in the background. And then obviously a minute later I caught up to what she was saying and realised I was only there for an hour or so and it wasn't going to dry, so I just then squirted a load of glue gun in my ad hoc way, and he did look really cute, but he obviously needs a little bit more. Some bits have stuck, some bits haven't, and then he got shoved in a bag, carried across London and back on the train for nearly 2 hours, so it's a bit of a sad state. I don't even know why I'm showing you it. I should have just left it in the bag, pretended it wasn't in there. Bit of a sad state of affairs, but this was really fun to make. They had loads of little figurines and like deers and trees, like some really kitsch and some quite cute. And then they had different teardrop. These are glass. This is like a teardrop one with a space in the middle. They had some which were much more like the bell jar sort of display ones with a flat base, which you then glued on. That's what Amber and Emily, they made one of those each. And a couple of other different, one was like a light bulb, but quite hard to get figurines in that one. So yeah, that was my Hobbycraft blogger preview review. It was so all over the place. I hope nobody from Hobbycraft watches it. They probably won't be very impressed. A wasted invite on me, but I had fun, and I got to meet some people who I've been chatting to on Instagram as well. I also met Nuage Crochet and Knit Safari, who are two people who I have admired, and Nuage Crochet Kim, I've chatted to her quite a bit, and actually when I was first on Instagram she ran a giveaway which I won, and I think she was recently on Instagram then too, and it was I should have brought it down. It was a like a crochet links bracelet, really pretty. So yeah, that's my second new thing. I think that about it. Is that enough for new things? I think that's probably about it. My lovely bag from Elaine and my goodie bag from Hobbycraft. I haven't really got any new yarn or anything, but that's okay because you saw how much I had last time and I haven't even made a dent in that yet. So I will do my, should I do my giveaway or should I do, okay, I'll do works in progress because that'll actually probably be quite quick. I am still working on my scrappy blanket using the Atomic Flowers blanket pattern, which is a free pattern of mine, which I made in really super chunky Debbie Bliss Odin for the project when I first did it, and now I'm just making it in scrap DK weights, all just sort of bright colours and little bits and bobs that I had left over. I said last time, oh, I should have pinned some to a board. This is my attempt. Doesn't look particularly great, does it? Here's one. Here are two more. Can you even see what they are? This is my attempt to do at my office nicely. So I mentioned, if you've watched before, that I've recently moved house, and we have a spare room / craft room. It's a bit of a mess still at the moment, but I've got, essentially it's like an old Victorian property. So it's one of those rooms where I've got chimney breasts in the middle and then 2 alcoves down the side. So we've got 2 wardrobes down the sides, which is housing all my craft stuff. And then in the middle I've got a space where I've got my desk and then a big kind of wall space on the chimney breast. So I bought this, and I also bought 2 little shelves from an online website, which actually I was targeted advertised through Facebook. So you know when you go on Facebook and they're like, would you like, oh, that was it, it was called Maison du Monde. Who thought you go another podcast about some of my brilliant pronunciation? I feel that targeted advertising has gotten better, or else that I've just become more of a sucker, because actually, now that I'm saying it, this clothing company also came up when I was on Facebook. We think you would like this. Oh, yeah, I would. So it's terrible, isn't it? Sometimes they come up, it's really annoying, but equally, clearly they got me right on whatever boxes I took. I did like this homewares company, and I did like this clothing company, and I bought from both of them. So yeah, this is my attempt to display some of my crafty bits. It normally lives in my office. I will post a picture of my office maybe as I'm doing it up, or if it's ready, if any of you are interested in homey bits and pieces. Let me know if you are, that would be quite nice to know. I would like to post more home stuff, but it just takes longer, I think, to stage and make your house look pretty than it does to like clear a little space this big and then lay down some some crochet motifs and a few petals or something. It's much easier to make that short area look tidy than tidying a whole area of your house to photograph. So my hat is off to you if you're an interiors blogger, or if you share lots of pictures of your home. Polly and Jam, or is it her account, Polly and Paula, Polly and her wildlings? I feel like I'm saying that wrong as ever, but she occasionally shares shots of her home that are really just give you beautiful glimpses and corners. And Poppy Creates is another one, a crochet account, which she often shares little sort of snapshots of, like, here's her sofa or her table made up with like beautiful flowers. I always really enjoy seeing Renka and her things on Poppy Creates. Oh, and Gillian, Tales of a Happy Home, or Tales from a Happy Home. I'll put it below. I love her house. She's like one of my style gurus. And again, these are just people I've come across on Instagram that I'm rabbiting on about. But do you like to see a mix of crochet and homewares, or do you just like crochet on your whiteboards? I feel like that's the way I was going for quite a while with my Instagram approach, but I'm a bit just bored of whiteboard backgrounds, so I'd like to share a bit more of my home, especially now we're making it and decorating it and making it our own. In theory, that would be nice to do. Scrappy blanket. I am also still working on my Lakeside Loops kimono, which I was talking about last episode. Haven't done anything else on it, but That's a pattern I bought from Lakeside Loops. Also, I'd like to mention, she only went and commented on my last video. Oh, Crochet Starstruck. I love her patterns and her account, so I'm glad I was nice about her because she said that a fellow Canadian blogger or podcaster had seen my podcast, and I did tag, when I posted on Instagram I tagged her, but I guess she must get so many notifications, maybe, I don't know, maybe she didn't see it pop up, but she said that a fellow Canadian crocheter had mentioned to her that I talked about the kimono on my last podcast, and she left me a really nice message. So there you are, there's another example of how nice the crochet community is. When I met with Emily and Amber, the 2 accounts I was talking about earlier, we were chatting about all things Insta and crochet, and sort of I was saying a bit about YouTube, and they were telling me about things they do, more maybe workshops, and we somehow got onto the subject, and both of them mentioned that they'd had like messages from random strangers being rude and really slating them, and I was quite shocked, and maybe it's just because I haven't been on Instagram for as long. Like, I think I said I'd had a couple of thumbs down on my YouTube videos, but I've also had hundreds of thumbs up, so let's focus on that. That's about the worst I've had. I really hope I'm not jinxing this now. Nobody send me vile hate messages, please, because there's just no space for that in my fluffy crochet bubble. My experiences have just been so nice, and like I said to you before, I love it when I get your comments, because you all leave just the nicest comments, and it's the thing that I would have cringed about or like turned my nose up at before, if people had said to me, oh, there's a real community online and you become friends with people you've never met. I'm like, I think I would have found that hard to believe, but it is true. I think if you have, maybe if you have a shared common interest, then, well, no, it's not inevitable. I think but a lot of people have gone out of their way to be kind to me and leave me lovely messages on Instagram, and even before I started this channel. So I suppose, but probably naive. I've probably jinxed it. It'll probably happen to me now, but I've had maybe like 1 or 2 fake accounts or guys be like, oh, hey, I see you there. I'm like, no, you're not interested in crochet. I'm still talking about my whips, I promise. But yeah, my point was trying to be, I was quite shocked by the fact they'd had those messages, because that hasn't been my experience, thankfully, and maybe there will be 1 or 2, but I think ultimately we just need to continue being nice to each other and leaving each other nice comments and being positive, because like I was saying about when I was at Brighton, even if you are a creative person, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy to find others or get on with others, and where we are now with this place where it is easier to find people and discover podcasts where people witter on about crochet for 45 minutes. I think that's good. We should support each other, and hopefully people who do leave messages like that will just soon get bored and move on, because I just don't know what there is to gain from that. Anyway, that was my chat. How did I even get onto that topic? Lakeside Loops and how nice she was. This is the next work in progress that I have. It is my Berber Scarf, which is the design I'm making using the Phildar Nuage Fluffy Cloud Yarn that I was sent to review. I've literally done maybe a row and a half since you saw it last, so sorry about that. Not much has happened, but I'm super excited to see this finished. That will probably be the next thing that I'm going to focus on finishing, and then I can write out the pattern for you all. That is going to be a free pattern for definite, and I'm going to share it and the Knitcraft blog through Hobbycraft are also going to share it, so if you miss it from me, you might see it pop up from them in a month or so. That is, I think, I probably mentioned one last time that I've forgotten because I've moved on, but that is all my works in progress that I'm currently focusing on. I thought that I would draw, I have drawn the winner for the Crochet Sock Collection book by Vicki Brown, which was, if you watched last episode, the book that my friend Lydia of Purple Moose UK very, very kindly sent me. Another example of the amazing crochet community, craft community, because she had a spare and she wondered if I wanted to give it for a giveaway, which I did. So yeah, if you watched last time, you will recall this, and I just asked people to leave me a comment about crochet socks, and overwhelmingly most of you said, I've seen knitted socks and I have been jealous, because I am like you. I watch knitting podcasts even though I can barely knit. Like, I don't knit, I don't really try to knit, but I still enjoy watching knitting podcasts or vlogs, because they're talking about yarn and they're excited, and a lot of times people are like the dyers themselves, or somebody like Potter and Bloom. I always watch her podcast, and she started off just talking about crochet and now she does quite a lot of knitting. They're probably more knitting now, and she is always knitting really gorgeous socks. I also quite like the Stranded Dye Works podcast. She dyes her own yarn, which I love, probably seeing that more and then seeing how it works up. I also watch the Crafty Chat from the Corner of Craft, and she's always knitting socks. And yeah, even though I don't knit socks, I like watching it and seeing how the yarn works out. But yeah, overwhelmingly when I said leave me a comment about socks, so many of you said you see knitted socks all the time, or you love watching people talk about knitted socks, but you don't have any intention of making knitted socks yourself because you're not a knitter. And actually that's quite refreshing, because there's a little part of me that thinks, I love crochet, but like, am I just like a knitter in waiting? Is it inevitable that at some stage I will start knitting and then crochet will be like left behind, to the point that I'm almost like resistant to do any knitting projects, because I don't want that to be the case. But also, being realistic, I'm quite quick at crochet now, and I know I'll be very slow at knitting. So I'm glad that so many of you agree that you would like to try knitted socks, or that no, that's the wrong thing to say. I'm glad that so many of you are in agreement that you love crochet socks and you'd really like to try them. Quite a few of you did say it's too warm where you are. That is okay, because you can get the book and just wait, or make them now and it might take you a few months anyway. Don't let season hinder your crochet desires. That's my motto. The winner that I was literally just doing a dramatic winner reveal. My husband, who's currently abroad, started ringing me, so I've hung up on him in order to continue with my podcast. Such a bad person. I'm hoping to wrap this up because I've been wittering on for ages. I've drawn a winner. Winner, your name is Olivia Jade. If you're still watching because you haven't been put off by my tired, sorry wittering state, congratulations, and thank you so much to everybody else who entered or who commented. There were loads of you who did, and who left me lovely comments about socks. I'm so popular. My mum just rang me. This is the perils of recording on an iPhone. I did put it on Do Not Disturb, but obviously that doesn't stop people ringing while you're recording. Congratulations, Olivia Jade. And I'll leave you a comment on your comment too, in the hope of reaching you. But if you're watching this, then send me a DM. Oh, I don't think you can do that in YouTube. Send me a DM on Instagram if you're on Instagram, or message me back on here. And I'll hook you up. Don't know where you live because she didn't say, but I'll post it to wherever you are. And hopefully you can crochet some lovely socks and share them with me. And then I can share them with all of you who are watching, if you are still watching. I think that's pretty much it for this podcast, episode 5. Thank you so much again if you've been watching. If you have enjoyed it, then please feel free to give me a thumbs up, or leave me a comment, or subscribe if you haven't already. I would love, love, love that. That'd be amazing. I'm just trying to remember, think if there's anything else. I'm sure there was something else I was going to tell you about or talk to you about, but my brain is gone. So yeah, I'll round up, I'll finish, and I don't know if you can tell if you've watched this far, if you've made it all the way to the end, congratulations, but the light is now slowly fading as well. So I've got a beautiful view around me in the room I'm in. There's lots of windows and I can see not the sun setting, but a beautiful vista of pinky white clouds. So I will leave you with that thought. I hope it's lovely where you are. I hope the weather is nice and not too hot. So yeah, thank you again for watching, and I will catch up with you all in another 2 weeks. Bye bye. Thanks again.